If you've ever felt extremely good on a Monday because you watched your football team over the weekend and it just looked totally different, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. We're back for another week here in the market. And yeah, I can barely contain myself because the Bears finally got a QB, but we'll get to that when the football season starts. Got a lot going on here this morning. 13's in the back. We're going to break it down for you. Let's roll. Happy Monday.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Monday. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I'm going to do a real quick rundown from the names I can see. Ken, Jonathan, Shaka, Market Sniper, Jonathan. I said your name twice. Well, good morning twice. River, Chris, Wiss, Fairchild, Jay, K, Beach Bum. Let's go, folks. Welcome back. Happy Monday. I hope that you all had a great weekend. We got another week on deck here. SPY trading a little bit higher earlier. Let's bring on 13 and try and make sense of all of it. 13, how was your weekend, dude?
Oh, it was fun. I had a good time, but now the kids are back in school, so I have to wake up a little bit earlier.
Okay, but they're in school, so that's a good thing, right? Because it's more peace and quiet in the house. Didn't say it. You don't have to answer. Do not incriminate yourself. Glad to have you back here, and hopefully you really enjoyed your weekend.
Oh, yeah.
As Peace Johnson is saying, let's get to work. Great idea. Let's go ahead and get to work. We're going to start here with the SPY. Didn't actually have my platform ready. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and do it now. Here's your SPY chart. Let's take a look at the daily and see where we're at. Okay. So big news here. SPY, we really kind of filled the gap, right? We sold off. We didn't quite get down to the 500. We traded back up. We actually closed this gap. Here we are today. Do we make a move towards the 20-day? Do we make a move towards the 50-day? We're still beneath this trend line that was running from October of last year to August 1st of this year, which we've broken beneath. Let's see what happens. I do think there might be some more room to trade up here, even though my overall bias for this market is that we do test some levels lower. So I want to see how much further we go here. Before I hand this over to 13, I want to roll through just a couple of charts here that show a lot of the same thing. Q's very, very similar chart. We drew the same trend line. This one, we actually bounced off of the 200-day clean. We also closed that gap. We're just shy of the 100-day. Be interesting to see if we find resistance at any of these moving averages or the trend line. And then the other one that we were taking a look at here is going to be the IWM. This, we talked about the 212 break. Looked like we were going to have a return to favor here for some of the small caps. Really kind of broke back down. We touched the 200-day, and now we're right up here at the 50-day. The big takeaway for me, and I'd like to hear what you folks think about this, especially as the week goes on. The big takeaway for me here is that although all of these indices came back in and then all of them filled a gap to the upside here, the reality is that the SPY and the Qs were really kind of down from highs. And if you take a more pronounced look to the left, the IWM, not necessarily that way. So although we did give up this breakout, I wouldn't be shocked if this took out the 50, kind of grinded higher, and then we prime ourselves for another 212 breakout on IWM. A lot has to happen, so we'll see which direction we go. But those are basically the three charts that I'm looking at here this week. 13, let me go back to the SPY, and I'd love to hear what you think about the market and some of these different levels.
Yeah, I think that we're seeing just what we've been talking about for a little bit now is the summer chop. We're going to get some of these outsized moves in both directions. Still seems like we're trading up a bit. I don't believe that we're going to do this complete V-shaped recovery where we go on to make new all-time highs. That would just kind of be ridiculous, and the market can do wild things. It just doesn't seem like that's the likely move that's going to be happening, going forward. There is going to be a number of economic reports that we're getting this week that could make this market continue to chop around. We're going to get PPI tomorrow, CPI on Wednesday. We have retail sales on Thursday, and then I believe housing starts we also have on Friday. So there's a number of economic reports that we're going to get that could move this market around as well. I still believe that we're on the path for a correction that takes us into October. So we should be getting some more resistance up here. I don't exactly know where the price is going to turn around and start trending lower again, but we are approaching that 5% pullback level off the all-time highs. We really fell through that when we came down here, and I have that just beneath 537. So let's just see if the price takes us up to 537 today, and we'll come back tomorrow and see what it does for us. But those economic reports definitely worth paying attention this week.
Okay. Good stuff there, 13. I also really like this comment here from Jay Rice. Japan expecting their PPI tonight. If that comes in hot, the carry trade gets dicey again. This was actually something that I wanted to ask some of the watchers that we have in happy hour regarding the yen carry trade. Is this trade fully unwound? Is there more to go? Might it create more turmoil? Jay, jumping the gun here. Really, really appreciate that. We will see what that data point brings tonight. I think that's probably all before the movers. We do have some earnings. We had Monday report earnings. I think the big ones are going to be Home Depot tomorrow. I think we got Walmart on Thursday. So there should be and then AMAT, Applied Materials, Thursday night. So we do have some earnings this week. I think they really kind of start tomorrow. And then the other thing is that Eli Lilly this morning was upgraded. So that stock's higher. Going to be watching that for a trade right out of the gate here. Okay, let's go ahead and break down the movers, and then we'll go ahead and take charts from the group.
Yeah.
And we'll see how you folks or what you folks are looking at here. All right, first one here is going to be ticker GNLN, Golf November, Lima November. Green Lane announces non-binding letter of intent to be the executive distributor of the U.S. safety strips, including fentanyl, xylene, and drink spike detection test strips. So it looks like I haven't gone through this PR. This was actually not moving when I was doing my prep this morning. It started to move after, as I was doing my prep before 8:30 this morning. Seems like they're going to have some test strips for some of these drugs. That is causing the stock to spike considerably higher here this morning. We're actually up 268% in the pre-market. We are kind of bull flagging up here. If we stay up here, I think this is likely going to be in play today. I got no problem being a little bit more patient and trying to wait this one out so I don't suffer a gigantic pullback. Keep in mind, the stock came from 262 and is printing above nines right now. Huge move. 13, what do you got here, GNLN?
So, you made the mention of why this is moving. This company actually last week also did a 1-for-11 reverse split on the 5th of August. That's another reason why we're seeing this movement today. Very, very low float now, just 529,000 shares. They also had a high short interest when they did that, but because of how small the float is now, it doesn't take very many days to cover. It's at 1.44, but the float shorted is 18.7. So we are seeing a little bit of a squeeze here with that as well. This is another thing that about this company that you want to kind of keep in mind is that they still do not have a good amount of cash on hand. They do have some revenue, but they're losing money every quarter. They don't have any really that much cash left on the balance sheet, so they are likely going to have to raise more money. So just be careful with this one. This is not going to be something I'd want to hold on to. This is just a day trade. Try to capture some of the movement, and then we'll move on.
Okay, really good stuff there, especially on the cash position here, 13. So we'll see what ends up playing up. Next here is going to be RVNC, and this is going to be real quick because there's no trade here. RVNC up 85.8% here today, holding steady at about 656. Revance Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company entered into a merger agreement with Crown Laboratories. The buyout price there, 666. For all you superstitious people out there. Anyway, RVNC is a takeover here. That's why it's up. Should be no trade. Moving on to the next one, though. Smoke Tuna literally calling this live as we're doing the breakdown. So big shouts out there. Safety Shot, ticker SHOT here, ripping. Safety Shot shares trading higher after the company announced new findings from a recent clinical trial conducted at the Center for Applied Health Sciences. 13, I know that this has all kind of happened since we've been live, so I'm not sure if you've been able to kind of go over this. I certainly have not. Anyone else out there got any context on this?
Well, it's helping get it back over $1, and it's trying to hold that dollar right now. The float currently is 46.5 million shares. I see that they have a little bit of short interest in there, about 8%. Not really that big of a deal, in my opinion. Let's see. As far as I'm not getting an update here. I can't tell at the moment if they have done a reverse split or not. I'd imagine they might have. Let's take a look at their finances.
I have not seen. I don't have any data in the calendar there.
Okay, so they have $2 million in cash on their balance sheet. They lose $15 million every quarter, or not every quarter, but that's what they the recent losses were posted at. So they're going to need to raise money as well. I don't know if this is going to reverse split before they do that. I don't know what their compliance is like, but being under $1, that's why I question it. So this will be another day trade. I don't know. I don't have any levels on this or how high this goes, but same as that last one I referred to, GNLM. This one needs to raise cash, so just make this a day trade. Don't hold on to it.
Okay, really good stuff there, and that did just start breaking recently. Seekin, good morning. I just noticed Ryan's bird is gone. Nope, Cleo is moved into the other room as I do every morning here. He is still having a great life, living his best life, and singing every single day. Sometimes you might hear him though, but Cleo's doing good. We're all doing good over here. Appreciate the reach out there. No, Sydney, Cleo did not fly the coop. LOL. Okay. Maybe the crow flew the coop. Where's the crow this morning? Anyway, all right, let's keep moving on here. Next one is going to be PSIG. You can see some of these stocks are actually changing position here. We'll cover them all, though. PSIG, this is another one that ran on huge volume here today. Looks like this is running on no news. I couldn't find any news earlier in the news feed or on X. You can see this stock yesterday, or excuse me, on Friday was a penny stock flirting with dollar territory. Today, we almost printed 220s. Now, we've come back in considerably, haven't retraced this entire move, and in fact we kind of slowed down here right above some of this back and forth consolidation area. Let's call it 145-ish. Current price here at 147, VWAP at 174. So maybe PSIG ends up getting rolling here. One thing I noticed is that if you just kind of glance at the chart here, you'll notice that when the buying volume is strong, the price continues to go up. And when that volume really kind of turns to selling volume, the price really kind of comes back in, and not just a little bit. These are considerable moves. So to me, the volume flow here is going to dictate how this stock does here today. We'll see on PSIG. I think 13, I think in the pre-show fist fight here, you were saying that this one might be one of those candidates to kind of bottom out and then give us a pop a little bit later in the day. That seems about right to me too. What do you got here on PSIG?
Well, this is a bit of a China pump. The company's based out of Hong Kong. There's no news. It's moving this, like you said, it's got a 510,000 share float. And I really can't get any information on their financials, which is never a good sign. So this is definitely something you don't want to keep in any of your long-term portfolios, short-term portfolios. Just don't hold it, just trade it. One thing to mention about that is the current price action. It's beneath the VWAP, and we're still sinking in pre-market. So there's a possibility of this maybe getting lifted out at the open. So there's a opportunity here for some quick in and out trades. But just remember, this is not a name you want to be holding on to. We're just trading this for the momentum. And if we don't have any momentum, then we're not trading it. So just wait and see what happens when the market opens. We might get that reversal, and it could start trading up. We might get our opportunity to capture that movement.
Okay. Good stuff there. Last one here on the list is going to be Key, and then we'll go ahead and start taking some. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about a mover to the downside here next, Jay, and then we'll go ahead and take tickers from the group here. Ticker Key, Kilo Echo Yankee is your ticker here. Key Corp shares are trading higher after Scotiabank acquired a 14.9% stake in the company. You can see this stock went from about $14.50, printed over 18s, but settling down here at about $17. Key, if we take a look at the daily chart, you can see kind of where we're at here. That 17 price really closes this gap, really kind of takes out some of this lower area. Now we're in this consolidation. Maybe you call it a supply zone up to about $20. So 13, what are you thinking here on Key? What do you see? What do you think here on Key?
Well, the news is really good, and I think because of what we've seen with these stocks that move when there's an announcement that some bank or investor has a huge stake, they tend to be multi-day runners. So this could be something that I'm not saying we should hold on to this, but this could be something we can trade multiple days this week. The thing is that it's got a really large float, 733 million shares. So that at the same time also makes me think, well, this is probably going to end up trading up just probably slowly. We might get these bursts here and there where it has a breakout and maybe moves a good percentage. But I don't know that we're going to get the momentum or the volume that we're looking for to do these quick in and out day trades. This is more along the lines of something that you could end up putting in your short-term portfolio for a swing trade, but that's up to you if you want to do that. For me, it seems like this is a pretty good company, but and it's got a really good news catalyst. So just going to be careful with this one. It might not provide the momentum trades we're looking for, but it still should have some good movement upwards.
Okay, there you go on key. And by the way, while we were talking, GNLN looks like it tried to take the next leg up there, printed above 10, still printing above 10s, but couldn't necessarily break that pre-market high just yet. Volume here still rather impressive on Green Lane. We'll see how this goes. Okay, Smoke Tuna, you were mentioning Miggy here. Looks like this was just recently happening. Mawson Infrastructure Group shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a binding AI/HPC co-location business agreement with BE Global Development. Okay, I'm going to have to look into that. I'm actually not even sure what that means yet. If anyone else knows, go ahead and share it with the group here. This did pop as high as 150, kind of came back in, but actually looks like this is reloading to try and push away from the VWAP. So we'll see. Good shout here on Miggy. This started to move right as we were finishing up. Okay, I do want to talk about one of the losers here. It's the biggest one on the chart. It's one that Jay had already mentioned here. Jay mentioning, I'm just going to start with your comment here, Jay. Riley, in deep dog do. Also appreciate it, keeping it a family show here. Much appreciated. Shorts were right, even though there was violent rallies along the way. Now, this might be in play here today for a trade. You guys are going to have to tell me. But there's a larger thing here that I wanted to cover. This is actually something that the Happy Hour group has been discussing, and some of the more experienced traders that have been around for a long time have said, when it comes to short reports and short thesi, I guess, is the often, if they're well researched, the information that they're providing is correct. But along the way, there can be some extreme volatility, and we definitely saw that here on Riley. Now, it's worth mentioning, we actually saw some really crappy short reports, like the one on INOD that did nothing but give us a gift for an entry. The one on GL that a whole bunch of people made thousands and thousands of dollars on. So not every short report is the same. You'll notice that a couple of times here we've talked about short reports, and I've asked the group or Jay specifically here what he thinks about that particular company. Effectively, what I'm asking is, how good is the research? Is this something that we should trust? Is this something that we should kind of take a long-term view on? Anyway, Riley here, this stock getting absolutely destroyed, down 47% here today. Company reported preliminary Q2 financial results, and it's not good. So you can see here, we are taking a leg down. For me, this is not something I'm interested in buying the dip on. This is still trying to hunt for a bottom here. So that's what's going on Riley.
And they suspended their dividend, which for this company, this is like a big income stock. So yeah, that's a huge deal for this. So yeah, it's going to be crashing. That can be a death blow. Blow. Okay. Jay Harris asking about Eli Lilly, ticker LLY. We're going to start with that because we had, great trades at the end of the week last week. Still amazed that Lilly gave us a short trade out of this channel. And then the very next day gave us a long trade out of exactly the same channel. Now, the news here on Eli Lilly shares trading higher after Deutsche Bank upgraded the stock from hold to buy and raised the price target from $725 to $1,025. Big raise there. Eli Lilly up 1.73% here in the pre-market. We take a look at the daily chart here. The picture becomes a little bit more clear.
we're popping here. I wouldn't be shocked if at some point this tried to test the highs. We had those in there at 960. I'm not saying it's going to go straight there today, but I wouldn't be shocked if this is what ended up happening here on Eli Lilly. Jay, you're asking calls or puts here. I got to think, given the news and given the way that the market looks early on here, I would say calls, but I would not necessarily get those out of the gate. We want to see where this thing trades, right? Do we want to see if this is giving us a really nice sideways pattern here? I'll bring this up and trade the pool, and I'll be looking for this for a potential trade here. So I would say I'd be leaning towards calls here, Jay Harris. But let's watch that open and make sure it confirms it for us. For my own personal trade here, I'm actually not going to trade options. I'm going to trade just a little bit of the stock probably. So that's what we're watching here on Eli Lilly. Okay.
Go ahead. Think this does a split at some point?
Well, that's kind of the bull thesis here, right? Yes, 13, to kind of answer your question outright, yes, I do think they probably do a split at some point here, especially if it continues to trade up. I'll tell you what, this thing makes a move above 1,000. I think we'll probably be ready for that.
That will take the float over 1 billion shares, so that's going to really make it heavy.
So we'll see. Yeah, one of the other discussions that we're currently having in Happy Hour, and we haven't really placed trades around it yet, but it's something that we're kind of monitoring here is, after some of these companies split, as you correctly mentioned, they're going to have so many shares outstanding. What do those companies do? Is it still good to own? Is it still good to trade? Is it going to move around a lot? I know we saw a number of these companies split and then try to buy their shares back after earnings reports. So a lot of interesting stuff to kind of watch there. But yes, I do think I would have to say, just given their performance here and looking at the daily chart, yes, I do think that this is a split candidate.
Nice.
All right. You're welcome, Jay Harris. Good question there on Eli Lilly. I'm gonna roll through a couple of more tickers here real quick, just kind of as I see them. Robert, I saw that you were mentioning BLND. This is one that moved. This was on Friday. Looks like it's moving here again. So maybe put that on your radar here. I saw someone else mention ELF and 13. If you need to get in here on any of these, please feel free to interrupt me. I'm just trying to do a quick circle around them. ELF, one of the things that we talked about here is, hey, watch this 200-day, right? We talked a lot about ELF being one of the more discount makeup brands. So if there's a trade down by a weakening consumer, people aren't going to stop wearing makeup. That much I'm confident in. So if there's a trade down from a more expensive brand, maybe they go to something like ELF, which is sold in Target and stores like that. Keep that in mind in terms of the macro thesis. Chart thesis here, boy, it sure looks like we are right by this 200. We failed it in the last candle here. Let's see if we can reclaim it. Maybe we will have an opportunity to swing this one. Did you have anything here on ELF before I move on?
I just think it's going lower. I don't think that double top that we put it on the daily has been fully resolved. I think when maybe under 130 would be a better opportunity to consider it if you're going long, but I think this goes lower first.
Yeah, and Jay here saying, ELF, I think they lowered their 2025 growth rate. I'd actually have to go in here and look at it. Might say in here, corrected. Let me go in here before let me look through this. The one thing that we did notice on Friday, there were still a lot of analyst defenses here, maintaining buys. Price targets are in the 200s, so vastly above where we're at now. Just something to keep in mind there, but really good stuff there on ELF. Okay, another one here that I'm seeing, TTD, the trade desk. This is actually, here we go. Remember, I was back in here, right back in the beginning of July, I was trading this for 100 break, never really got it. Then we really sold off to the 200-day. Stop me if you've heard this before, but boy, oh boy, did that 200-day serve as really great entry. Here we are back up 93.30, or excuse me, 99.30. Sure looks like we're going to test another $100 breakout here on the trade desk. Full disclosure, I have no position on this. It's a little bit early trying to trade this for that 100 breakout, but we'll watch this again and see if this sets up. Really good mention here on the trade desk, Wellness Matters. We're right back on here. Strength is right back on. We'll see if we make a double top or if we break out. Let's see. What else do you folks want to take a look at? How much time do we have? 4 minutes. You got Tesla, Amazon, TSLA. Tesla, I know they kind of talked about this a little bit on pre-market prep. Tesla, this actually might be a little bit wild tomorrow. Keep in mind, we are beneath this 200-day, and we look like we're trying to recapture it. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going to do a live broadcast on X. The most interesting part about this is that this is not controlled by legacy media. It's just unscripted, no holds bar between two guys that have no filter and love to say things. So I'm really kind of curious as to what comes out of that. I wouldn't be shocked if Tesla somehow responds to that, especially if there are questions about EVs and credits and the upcoming election and all of that stuff, which I would imagine is going to be in play. Maybe Tesla sees some action depending on those answers here later today. I'll definitely check that out. I don't know how much of it I'm going to actually sit down and pay attention to, but I'm definitely going to check it out and see how it goes. The other thing to consider here, there was some talk in pre-market prep about DJT, right? This is a stock that people have been trading. The thought here as well, if they're going to do this on X, that spells bad things for DJT. And I would agree with that to some extent. The one thing is that if these two really do become chummy and things end up working out in terms of the election, I could actually see this as a potential roll-up or takeover target. So something that I wouldn't necessarily throw out there. We'll see if I'm right about that. But that's basically what's going on here tonight. 13, and there any other charts that you want to take a look at?
Well, I was just looking at DJT. That's about the death cross. That's not good. I don't know how much further down this will go if it when that cross happens, but I'd be looking at the 500-day SMA the price to lose support there at the 500-day SMA, which I currently have at 23.38. It could go down. I mean, that's what this death cross is signaling to me, is that there's more downside ahead. Not sure what the catalyst is, but that interview might be it.
We'll see. We'll see where this one goes. Just stuff to keep on your radar for stuff that's happening here. Go ahead.
And also what you mentioned about Tesla, that needs to recapture its 200-day SMA. That thing's been down there way too long. I think today's going to have to be the day, or sometime this week. It needs to really get back above that. It does have a golden cross, but that isn't going to mean a whole lot if we cannot recapture that 200-day SMA.
Are you encouraged by it holding the 100-day and then trading up off that level to get back to this test area? That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Maybe that's rose-colored glasses, though, because I kind of do think Tesla's going to move higher here.
It's like this. There's both bullish and bearish signals, so I'm just kind of like 50-50 at the moment.
Okay, we'll play what the market gives us, right? Remember, that's one thing I was saying on Trader TV last week when I was going over there. Appreciate all the support from our community, by the way, for me appearing on Trader TV. We're going to let the market tell us what to do, right? We don't necessarily have to make a decision early on. We can react. We can allow the market to tell us what's going on and then react from there. Okay, we are about to open here. In fact, we have 15 seconds. GLNN holding in there. I'm going to switch over to Trade the Pool. The stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need help getting above the 25K day trading threshold or simply need more dry powder, perhaps Trade the Pool can help you out. Check them out. Great group of people. We do like them. Here's Eli Lilly as well.
And we open.
Good luck, folks. Happy Monday.
PSIG headed lower initially. Key holding in there. GNLN. And this thing is going to be spready. And remember, it's got a low float too, so this could really knife down hard.
PSIG. Riley, by the way, which is one of the stock that was down big here in the pre-market. First move is up to the VWAP there. No way I was going to take that given what's going on, but that's happening here. Shot big pullback here in the pre-market. Maybe it's finding a bottom here around 80 cents. We'll see if that returns back to the VWAP. Smoke Tuna, I know that you were looking at Shot not long ago. If you had announced a trade in there, I'm sorry I didn't see it. SOUN. Good morning, Lynn. It's great to see you. You guys just gave the perfect reason to day trade Tesla only. Look, if you figure out how to day trade this every day, that's probably the only stock you need, frankly. That's moving lower here out of the gate. MIGI still kind of holding right around its VWAP here. We'll see if this ends up rolling.
Yeah.
Brad, you're taking a look at Nvidia. Bull run into earnings has begun. Actually, so Brad, here you go. This is a decent call here. Nvidia is popping and moving out of the gate here. Sorry, 13. What did you have here on Nvidia?
Oh no, I was just that was a good mention because we were talking about that last week. How there's possibility Nvidia might run into earnings with how beat up it's been. So it could just do that again, where it just continues to trade up, and then we have earnings and it rolls right over again.
And that earnings, by the way, is August 28th. So still 14 days until we get that earnings print. Good stuff there. All I see so far on my scanner, on my Benzinga Pro scanner, is penny stocks with the exception of GNLN. Looks like that now is appearing here. Let's take a look and see what we got.
GNLN is sideways.
It is sideways.
PSIG is figuring out if it wants to go up or find a bottom still. Key is sideways. Everything's sideways. Everything we're looking at was sideways so far.
Okay, Eli Lilly fell out of this upgrade here. So this is be really interesting. Let's see if this gets back to this 901 and gets rejected there on Eli Lilly. Also wouldn't be shocked if this bounced from an 890 level. Boy, definitely not going to buy a knife like this. This is really moving down quickly here, but something to for sure keep on watch.
Around to see what else is going down.
Yeah, I'm clearing away my Slack notifications, making sure the world isn't on fire. TRNR here, penny stock for you penny players. This trying to break the VWAP. Okay, knifing away from the VWAP now. It looked like it was flirting with that level, trying to go higher here. No position for me on this one. Here's Key, holding right here at 17. We'll see if this moves through the VWAP.
One of Tim Melvin's bank stocks had just popped this morning. It's not moving very quickly, but TFSL had a nice big old move out of the gate.
This was one of the recent dividend stocks that he gave us here. I did take some of this one here. I'm starting all of these long-term income plays. My strategy here is basically nibbling on them. Because I'm holding them to pay me over the length of time, I'll buy a little bit at a time. If it goes down, maybe I'll dollar cost average and buy a little bit more. Here we go with the chart. That did gap up here. You're right about that. So that's just kind of how I'm playing them. I have a little bit of it, not necessarily, not terribly worried about the individual move, way more concerned about the dividend. Sorry about my feed slowing up here a little bit. Jay Wild, good morning. Happy Monday, my man. Mentioning OGen as that is moving higher here. Ticker OGEN.
GNLN is trying to push up now. It's this thing is just whipping around and kind of just ending up back at start a lot, but yeah, it did have a little bit of a push up there. Now we broke through the VWAP. Selling starting to accelerate. Looking at my screen here, the volume candles that I have are just beat red. I got no problem staying away from that. PSEG also trying to figure out if this is going to bottom or not. Got to be patient with some of these. MIGI, kind of the same thing, but it is above VWAP. Palantir above 31. Archer Aviation, that went up to 375.
Ooh, look at Palantir. Oh my God. And so Palantir, so I actually had, great mention here, 13. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I actually had this pre-market sideways channel marked off. We ripped out of that. So I didn't even get the back test that I wanted here. So I probably would have just let this one go, but Palantir strong here out of the gate. Strong out of the gate.
All right, now we're getting somewhere with PSIG. That's popping. I finally figured out what it was.
Yep, sure did. Right to the VWAP. Who called that one? I mean, who made it run? Not who called it.
Oh.
We've talked about it multiple times.
Not me, surely.
And then the other thing we had, I know we didn't really cover this in the rundown, but we had Starbucks here. I'd be curious to know what you think about this, 13. We had Starbucks popping here on news that there was a report suggesting activist investor Starboard Value took a stake.
Oh. So
that's what's going on here. I haven't traded it yet. Don't expect you folks to, but that's what's going on here.
Yeah, Starbucks is a longer term hold for me. So that's good news.
DJT, big pop here out of the gate. Again, there is a catalyst here tonight, but please keep this in mind as basically a trading vehicle. trading vehicle only. I think that's where, when we've seen success in this name, it's been when it's been used as a trading vehicle. Jay Rice mentioning SMCI here. Wow, we're popping out of the gate here in SMCI. Let's see if we can trade back up here. Got a gap that I think kind of starts at 550 and fills at maybe 6. 50-point bounce off the lows. That, when you have a stock that is volatile like that, that is the type of stuff that you're going to see.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to recover its 200-day.
Yeah, it does seem a little farther away from that. Here's another stock that's actually above its 200-day and now starting to continue to build and perhaps move away from that. This is one we talked about last week. This is IOVA, Iovance Biotherapeutics, having another nice morning here as we're popping out of the gate. Only green volume candles. And again, if you look at the daily chart here, this one has recently recaptured maybe possible swing here, IOVA. I have no position on this myself, but the chart looks good. MLGO, penny play popping here. Jay's got his eye on it. Here's ELF. Looks like that's rolling lower here. 13 getting some props on saying ELF probably goes lower. Sun-powered SPW. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that because the daily chart's telling you it's got a really bearish pattern happening there.
Yep. Here's Blend Labs, BLND. This moving away from the VWAP here. Didn't really see entry in that though.
Let's see for that one. Yeah, I mean, it kind of needs to come back in because this thing has been steadily moving up since the market opened. And I mean pre-market, like just steadily up. So maybe this gets up to 414 and comes in. That would be the high from Friday.
Okay, UPST getting mentioned by Robert. This, I guess, curling a little bit here, not a whole lot. Roberto asking, what's the plan? Roberto, I don't have any entries planned yet. Had a couple of things that I was taking a look at, but no trades yet here today. Eli Lilly still hunting, for a near-term bottom here. Palantir looks like it's slowed down off that initial move here, coming back to VWAP. We'll see if this holds. Might be a trading opportunity there on Palantir, ticker PLTR. Emrin, this is one we covered from this morning. This at the pre-market highs now. This did move through the VWAP. That actually might have been pretty decent. Volume looks pretty good there. I'd be a little weary of this up here at the resistance in the pre-market until it can really show it's got some strength. Key came in from that 17 level and is still struggling to get above the VWAP. Remember, 13 broke down how tough this one's going to be to move around given its float, especially now that the market is open. So anything under that VWAP, I think we're probably should be skeptical of it.
GNLN rolling over. Like we've seen so many of these do before. This could spend the morning coming in and then it could turn around after the lunch hour. That's seemingly what this is setting up to do, but we won't know until the move is in. So
GNLN, boy, I'm going to screw this ticker up a few times. Looks like it did it looks like it tried to hold 8 there, did print lower than that into the 7 handle. The one thing I'm noticing here is in addition to the price curling, so too is the volume. Maybe this volume starts to turn to buying volume. That could really kind of ignite this. Definitely looks like there was some profit taking out of the open, which makes complete sense. Stock spread here about 20 cents. That's going to make it a little bit more difficult to trade. We'll see if this MACD histogram kind of compresses and then flips positive. We'll see here on GNLN. Looks like Crow took some in. Okay, it looks like Crow, you're taking some here for a curl. Good luck, my man.
Yeah, it looks like it's, yeah, it might be good.
Spread starting to tighten up here a little bit. I really like that. This curling right at the VWAP. Crow, my goodness, early on, Crow's going to get the first register ring of the day here. Even if he doesn't ring that register, I would at least partial. It's a big move from 7 up to the VWAP here. It's about 1.5 points. So pretty good stuff here. Maybe a full point, I guess, because I'm not sure exactly where that bottomed. Really good call there, Crow. You were on that one. You were on that one. Emrin being called by Smoke Tuna here. Let's see how that's doing. That is still finding resistance at that pre-market high level. Got that at 295 for the intraday high. Ogen getting mentioned by Jonathan here. That's actually above its VWAP. Spread's really tight here. This actually doesn't look terrible. How are some of these bigger names doing? So Eli Lilly trying to come back to its VWAP. That's interesting. PLTR, is that also coming back to its VWAP? Indeed it is. Actually, Palantir bounced off its VWAP. Not bad.
Yeah, I think with GNL, and that's going to need to come down for another hour, and then we can definitely look for a breakout above 1070.
Hey, the trade desk. I'll tell you what, man, this thing really is struggling with that $100 level. The one thing I will say is that the more this struggles with it, if it finally makes it through, you're likely going to have a little bit of a run there. All right. So trade desk, this is setting up pretty nicely here. Now, the last time that we were looking at making a takeout of the $100 level, we pulled all the way back down to that 200, which was at about $80. All right. So we lost about 20% on a pullback. So factor that in. If you're going to trade for this, at minimum, have a stop in case it doesn't work. But trade desk here, backing off a little bit from yesterday's, or excuse me, I keep saying that, from Friday's session, but still kind of gearing like this wants to make a move through 100. Here we go. Jay Rice giving us some more insight here on the market. This is one of the things we talked about when we were looking at the market here today. Watching the pre-market gap up didn't really make a lot of sense because GVIX was green all AM. GVIX, I'm not even sure I know what that one is. You might have just meant VIX because the VIX was green all AM. This move back here in the market, in the SPY, not terribly concerning, but notable. I would imagine as long as we really kind of hold where we were on Friday, I want to see the SPY come back in. So I'm actually rooting for this to break down. I'm just trying to be as prudent as possible. This? I meant VIX. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, Roberto, sorry, 13. Roberto mentioning that those $100 especially, but those round numbers, Livermore levels, totally get it there. Sorry, 13. Didn't mean to run you over there, my man.
Oh, no, I was just mentioning that PSIG had another pop. Caught a little bit of that. It seems like it might be trying to curl here. It's putting a bit of a bottom, so we could see some more upside with this. I have a target of 195 if this continues to trade up. Got to get through this 160 wall first, though.
Okay, this has been this trade off the curl back to the VWAP. This has worked.
Mm-hmm. Key, just this thing is going to have to find the bottom first. First potential stop might be around 1630, but I don't know. I think it might cool off even more than that. Maybe 16 even might be a better level. GNL and also that pop has dropped. I think this still needs another hour of downside before it's going to start to turn around and recover and go up to new pre-market. I'm sorry, new regular session highs. I'll get it out, folks. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a Monday. We're shaking out the cobwebs there. I'd be a little nervous too if I watched that Bears game as a non-Bears fan because holy smokes, things are going to change in this town. JK, but this did lose the VWAP here and is trying to reclaim it. We'll see if we're actually able to do that. Really quickly, if you want to take a check-in on the broader markets here, we can do that using heat maps courtesy of Benzinga Pro. We've got the SPY, Dow, and Qs here. You can see pretty much what's going on. Not a whole lot out there. Really kind of muted. Looks like Qualcomm leading the way to the downside here. Probably your biggest mover down. Starbucks off that stake. Pretty decent. Nvidia having a good bounce back day here. So just kind of looking at the market, kind of picking its direction. Not a whole lot just yet.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe some of those economic reports we're getting this week have investors a bit weary. Plus, also, they're not all coming back until September anyway.
Now, September, I like what you had said, or GNLN here, by the way. This actually looks like this might roll over. Speaking of rolling over, that first move for any of you that traded DJT, hopefully you took gains there. This thing reversing to the downside, looking like it's going to try to go lower. We'll see here. A couple of other names being mentioned that I'll check in on here real quick. Sava, this is trading back up. This stock's a huge battleground. This looks like this is coming up off the 200-day, though, which is pretty nice. RK mentioning Zim. I don't think this is out of the water yet, given all of the stuff that's going on there with shipping. 13, I know you follow Zim quite a bit. Actually, it looks like this might be on a battle with its 50-day here.
Yeah, this one started to go in the direction I was looking for last week, and then on Monday it had that pop off of the I don't remember if it was earnings or what. There was some kind of news, I think, but on Monday it had this really big move back up into the above the 20-day SMA. I'm still looking for that to come down some more. I think it really needs to come down closer to 13. Somewhere between 15 and 13 is, I think, a better buy area for this one.
Okay. Hey, good morning. Trade the pool. Good morning. It's okay. You know what, Gil? Better late than never. I think it's afternoon or evening for you. Hopefully you're doing well. We're actually having a pretty good morning here so far. I have no new trades yet, but things are kind of shaking out here, and I'm optimistic for the week. So a lot of participation, a lot of people rearing to go. So it is a good morning, and happy Monday to you and your team as well.
And there was a mention, MGOL, Smoke Tuna had mentioned it. That had a nice move off near the lows of the pre-market. So we opened, it went down to the pre-market lows right around there, and turned around and ripped almost a whole dollar. And
hey,
so that was
really quickly, Moulton here mentioning Amazon. Moulton, welcome. Amazon, this is an interesting mention here. I actually didn't notice this until you mentioned it. Good shout out here. Amazon pulled all the way back to the lows that it held from Friday. It's trying to bounce here. So a potential move back towards that VWAP, not out of the cards here on Amazon. We'll see if this volume really kind of turns into some more buying volume. You see, we did this last Friday, and that actually gave us a move. So Amazon, worth watching here. It's not a bad mention.
Yeah, that's a lot of time spent underneath the 200.
Joe Nicholas coming back with the storm. Register ring for you in and out on Palantir. Nice way to start off the day, Nicholas. Well done.
Nice.
Well done. Getting asked for our Intel opinion here. This one's tough, right? This one's really, really tough. Backyard. Long term, I really don't think the company is going to like fold up. I know they're going through some tough times right now, reducing headcount currently, which should be good for the stock.
And my thought, their dividend.
Say again.
And they suspended their dividend.
And so my recommendation here, I mean, I don't even want to call it a recommendation, but my thought here would be, let's let this shake out, right? I mean, 13, you've talked about dividend plays for a long time and how important they are for your investment thesis and how you hold them and all of that. And it's bad news when a stock like this cuts its dividend. We also played this last year from 25 to 50. So we actually had a double on the equity. And I'll say all things the same this time around. It looks a little bit different. I'm not sure we're going to get that clean move back up towards that. So what do you think here on Intel?
Well, the dividend suspension implies that they intend to return it at some point, and this is not a substantial dividend from this company either. It's it's going to be better for them to just keep that money internally and deploy it. Maybe finding better management for one, that could be what they could deploy capital towards. But I don't really think this is something that a lot of income investors are holding on to. The dividend just isn't as attractive as some of the other plays out there. That being said, I still want to see this get hit a little bit harder, come down to a really attractive valuation, and then we can start seeing investors pile into this thing. But I agree with you. I don't think this is going to roll up and go away. They got way too much out there, and their business is too robust for that to happen. But they are going through a tough time, and they'll be back at some point. But now is not that time. So I think that the suspension of dividends okay. I think they're going to make the changes they need to. It's just going to take a little bit of a while.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think that's really good. Let's wait for it to figure out its bottom. We don't need to be heroes, right? We don't need to be heroes. And frankly, we don't need to grab the dead bottom either. If this thing turns around and moves 100% again, I'll be okay taking 90% of that move. I don't need to hit that dead bottom. Roberto here kind of going along with this, stay away from stocks and downtrends. All the best traders will tell you this, including some of the traders in this channel. Speaking of really good traders in this channel, Smoke Tuna's MGOL call was crispy. This thing actually broke out of this consolidation area, went higher, still looks like it's going higher. Smoke Tuna, we were discussing something else, but you kept your eyes on the prize and mentioned this really good shout there.
675 is an upside target. I have an MGOL. We made a intraday high of 699 on Friday.
PSIG looks like multiple members hitting PSIG here this morning. Jane, nice job, Jane C. Look, Jane, I believe, if I recall correctly, you told us on Friday that you were finishing up a less than stellar week. Love the energy to come out here on a Monday morning and start getting those gains back in your favor. That's exactly how it's done. That's what we want to see. Really good stuff there. Born, good to see you this morning. Hopefully your Monday is doing well. Just spent a week in Texas, and dude, it was hot and the traffic sucked. You're a tough hombre to handle that on the regular. How about that?
I appreciate that. And, I'll tell you, I used to live in California, and that was and it was hot. It was hot out there too, but it was like a dry heat. I much more prefer this, well, I'm from Houston, so I get the more humid heat. So this is my swamp. I totally love it. I love the wetter air. I don't feel as sapped when I'm doing things outside, I like it. It's not for everybody. I know a lot of people don't like the humid weather.
Yeah,
it's a big change for me, and I love the change. So
you're saying that you love the humidity, and I am like doing backflips inside out of just complete distraught. I mean, humidity is the worst thing ever. It absolutely saps my energy. It's crazy that you like it. Really quickly here, Chris, really good mention. Nice job keeping your eyes on the prize as well. Eli Lilly looks like it's making a turn. Indeed, does look like that bottom has kind of been put in. And look at this, Chris. No coincidences, right? This thing bottomed exactly where it bottomed on Friday. Let's see if it can get through the VWAP. If it does, I actually think this is not a bad trade to the long side here. We'll keep an eye here on Lilly. Chris, appreciate you mentioning this as I was flipping around.
Yeah, line atlas side. It's going to take that long, maybe even longer. I agree.
Here is PSIG. Looks like that's moving through there. Gil, we are super happy to see you. Appreciate you hanging out. Would love to hear what some of the big wins from your crew have been recently, or perhaps what you're watching this week. Let us know if you have that. I know I kind of put you on the spot, so no rush there on that homework, but would love to hear what you folks are looking at over there. BEKE. This was moving off my scanner earlier. Maybe it reclaims the VWAP here and gives us an opportunity. Payo, another ticker here moving higher. Had to, dude. Just absolutely had to. I laugh every time I see that ticker.
Yeah. PSIG, I have an upside target of 195. Got some supply to work through here, and these upper shadows don't look too encouraging to try to jump into it right now. Let's see what this next candle. Well, I'm going to wait for the next candle anyway, see what happens. Okay. But it's still holding above VWAP, so that's good. Key, coming down to the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. I have that at 1631. We start to see some support there. There's a chance that this might start turning around. This is going to be with that really slow moving stock because of how much float they have, over 700 million shares. GNL and turning around, recapturing VWAP at the moment.
Okay, let me go to that. GNL. I'm handling something here at work, so really appreciate you. 13
Sure.
With this rundown.
Sure. What else is going on here?
Okay.
Here we go. Yep, is GNL, and are you thinking this is the time? Oh man, it's really starting to get
here we go. We're moving through that VWAP here.
Yeah,
919 has some size. Let's see.
And it just took that and came right back in.
It came right back in here. We're beneath. Let's see.
Just be careful. This one has low float.
Yep.
500,000.
I just took 100 and it immediately sank. Look at this. Look at that. But we're going to try and be patient here because this thing's kind of all over the place. Maybe I shouldn't have gone with 100 early. Let's see if this goes higher here. GNLN. Tell you what, it is kind of spreading out here. We should take this. Let's see if we move higher here. It did look like it wants to go above that VWAP. I think if we lose this sideways area and it goes lower, we'll probably have to cut this one. We'll see here, though. GNLN, let's see if we go higher here. And actually, what level do we want to break? We want to break like a 9. What is the high of that candle? 939. Maybe we will get that broken here. Let me take a look.
I want to see a 5-minute candle close over 905, and then I know it's a super spready and it could get up there real quick. But 980 would be the next upside target after 905. Okay,
I'm going to put a sell order there at 904 and see if it fills that on the pop. That would actually be a fairly decent scalp if we get that, but I don't know if we're going to get that. We can always cancel them if necessary. Let's see if we roll higher here, though. I really didn't want to... That candle on VWAP, that's not the first time we've seen that kind of get a little wild this morning. It was on a different name. I can't remember the ticker. Here we go. This is actually trying to go. Let's see if we pop above.
PSIC pushing. I think it's going to get up to like 195 or $2 and then come right back in.
Okay, let's see if...
wow, what a move in that one. I just totally nailed that one, PSIC.
Okay, I'll sorry. I can't go to it yet.
I know, I'm sorry.
This GNLN's going to come back in here. Okay, maybe I will go to that here in a sec. We'll see. This is turning around here, so we'll see if we get merked on GNLN. So what happened here? This was a high a day break that you sold into the pop?
So I picked some up at 170 because I was getting about to get an EMA across the VWAP, and I thought, okay, this, even though despite these upper shadows, I'm going to do a small position and see if this takes it all the way up to the upside target I have, which was at just under $2. So I set a limit order to get out at 195. I was in at 170, and I got a quick 25 cents on that move up, and that was it. That's all I needed to do.
Really, really good stuff. Nice job.
It was a risk.
13, you're going to get the registering. Hey, that's what we do in this business, though. We are managing risk. I took a risk here too, GNLN, and it isn't working. It looks like we're actually going lower here. So if we really, really start to sell off, we'll just cut this and wait. A move below 8, I'm out of this. But again, with this, you have to understand what it is that you're trading. And here's something that's kind of been back and forth, been kind of volatile. Don't necessarily want to take a knee-jerk reaction. Want to see if we can push through the VWAP here again. 904 would be sick. If we can get there, we'll see if we do. Palantir getting mentioned. I will go over there. How can I short GLN without being offered? I don't know. I would not try to short something like that. Also not part of my thesis. So maybe someone else out here is taking a look at that. Jeff from Twitter mentioning that Tesla is collapsing. Haven't pulled up Tesla in a little bit here. Indeed, broke those lows, taking the next leg lower here on Tesla. What do you think the next spot is down here? What, 186? Or 8 points away from where we're at? Sounds about right to me.
So right now the price has kind of been for almost a week. The price has been between these two levels I have marked off, 194 and 200. If we go under 194, I think 180 is going to come up at some point in the future. 180 is like a really big bottom level I have for this stock, and it's not able to capture recapture the 200 SMA on the daily. So there's more downside ahead. That's what that implies. I don't know how soon this whole thing shakes out to where it goes down to 180. But if we lose 194, then that's what my expectation is going to be, that we're going to come down and test 180.
Tom asking here, do we think that this is related to Elon's recent tweets? Which tweets are you referring to? And has he tweeted earlier this morning? I'm just not sure off the top of my head which tweets you are referring to. GNLN rolling over here, not looking great.
Alex Anderson probably has, probably the best, take on what the selling's about. I know that there's some things that he's been saying and tweeting lately that.
Yeah, but is that enough to really move it? Like, I understand that dynamic, and I don't argue with the dynamic. You guys are right about that. But is that enough to really drastically affect it?
They have money too. Liberals have
Yeah,
money
no,
too.
no, no, and come on, I'm not saying that
I'm just
either. I just mean, like, is that really going to kind of drive up that pressure? I just feel like institutions and firms are going to have more control over that, and it seems to me that they wouldn't necessarily make decisions like that on a maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. Everyone seems to be affected by politics nowadays. It seems to be like the most healthy thing in my entire lifetime, to be honest with you. We'll see here. GNLN, this is not looking great. Really struggling with that VWAP. Looks like we teased a false breakout there. So if we break down here, we'll just collapse this one and wait for another setup. Tesla just moves. Don't try to rationalize. Now, that is actually not terrible. In a lot of cases, we can kind of figure out why something is moving, but you're absolutely right about Tesla. It is no stranger to big moves. This GNLN don't look good at all. I think we're going to break down through 8 here. I'm probably going to get smoked.
PSIG still trying to get over 2. And if it does, this might rip to 215. I have 215 next and 225 after that. And I have not marked off any other levels, even though this could definitely go higher. Just stop marking off levels because I wasn't sure how high they would go today. I'm not going to just mark off every level I see. Okay, broke through 2. Should get 215. And 210, almost there. Got 210.
What are you looking at, PSIG?
Yeah, I'm just kind of narrating what's happening with PSIG. Just looking to see if it was going to get up to 215 on this candle. Oh wow!
Oh, you guys picked the right one here. Look at that.
Well, and remember, this is that junky China pump that we were talking about.
We're on deck for a halt here, aren't we?
Now it's going to halt. Yeah, that was a huge move.
Awesome job here. Register rings all around for you folks that were trading PSIG. Looks like you guys hooked the right one here. 235. I don't have this reported as halted just yet.
It's halted.
There it is. There is your halt. So it looks like it came in a little bit late there. PSIG monster move up here. This actually is above the pre-market highs as well. Just boom, big pop there, PSIG.
All right. So it looks like Key is now getting some support from that 65 EMA I mentioned that was going to be at 1631. Need to see it hold some more, but let's just make sure that that's what we're getting here is that support that's going to turn it around and take us back up through VWAP. But so far, it looks good. Okay, so I saw somebody mention CleanSpark, and now I see Lauren mentioning Mara. I haven't looked at Bitcoin today, but I see that it's under 6,000 or 60,000. This is wow, it really sold off this morning. So this is down to the high or the low. I'm sorry, from earlier this morning, around 325, 330, 57, 675.
Look at.
So yeah, all the Bitcoin names are going to be down off that, but this might be a level where Bitcoin could turn around. So I guess that's why they're asking. Folks, those Bitcoin names, they move with Bitcoin. So whatever Bitcoin does, you're going to see something similar happen in Riot, Mara, CLSK, all those.
Marathon Digital holding shares trading lower. Company on Monday announced a proposed private offering of $250 million in convertible debt.
So why are they needing to do that?
So that's what's going on there. Okay. Let's see. SXTP is open. Looks like that was open for a halt here. Is that right? Oh, yeah. And that actually went higher and it's came back in now. SXTP. Load. This one also off the scanner. This is a penny stock, but this is going for the highs here. GNLN, we're still holding in there. It's teasing a breakdown, but we haven't got it yet. We're gonna wait this out. We're gonna not have a reaction to this. I don't like that the volume looks like it's kind of increasing. That VWAP break, we had that volume expansion on that same candle, and I was hoping that was going to continue, and it has not. So that's a little bit disappointing. Again, we'll see if we break higher here on GNLN. Jeff also mentioning Nvidia trying to punch through the resistance here. So Nvidia, remember, it had that move right out of the open, kind of set where it was trying to go. Now it's pushing away from the VWAP. We'll see if it's got the juice to do it here. Volume actually looks pretty decent on Nvidia. Market is holding in there. Here's your Qs. This is back to VWAP. We'll see if this turns around or moves higher here on the Qs. Market trying to bounce across the board here, curling off that pullback. Your Apple trying to move back to the highs.
Zim rebounded.
SOUN. Ooh, that did take the next leg higher here on SOUN. That above 5 now on SOUN.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this daily chart, something's going to happen here with this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull it up here, 13. I'd like to get your opinion on this one as well.
Well, I have 515 marked off as a level, and it's been pretty good since we were trading this last week too.
Yeah,
515 got up there, traded above it, especially in after hours. Came back in, was a pretty interesting support level intraday yesterday on Friday. I'm sorry, not yesterday. Last week on Friday.
Too. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
So this is going to be it's got a lot of supply to get through between here and 520. This took out that 515. If this keeps going, 575 is my next upside target for this one.
645 looks to be a spot here too. On SOUN, if it gets through that 515 that 13 is identifying here, this chart, this sideways, this is going to make a move at some point. Yeah.
You said 645. I got 650 already up here. So I agree with that level.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Sound continuing to rip higher here on SOUN.
Yeah. Don't know if it gets to 650 today, but I'm looking at 575 as a potential upside target.
Shant saying, here comes the buy the dip. We're kind of seeing that here on the markets, right? Let's take a look at the Qs here. That through the VWAP looks like the dip is getting bought. SPY doing the same thing here. Let's take a look at IWM.
PSIG was finally open and it popped up to 256 coming back in. I'm going to start putting on some more levels. So if there's more upside left in this, I'll have levels for you.
Here is PSIG 245. Webcoin seeing GNLN has $14 potential if it runs. Look, that's one of the reasons we tried to trade this is because of the huge range that it has and some of the action here. We'll see if we time that just really, really poorly if we get in something here. This is looking like it's going to test this VWAP again. Let's see what happens here. I would be careful on this one, especially given some of the action that we've seen. That's why I kind of went in real small.
Quite a bit of supply here between this current level and $4 for PSIG. So,
here, let me go back to PSIG.
Could be some back and forth getting through that, but after $4, it could really move. And when I mean really move, it could get, it could rip to like 10.
Here is PSIG. Let's see. Love hearing this. Nabil, I might be pronouncing, or Neville. However, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name incorrectly. I do want to get that right. 4 points in the green on Eli Lilly. Does look like we kind of turned off the bottom. The takeaway here on this trade, great job being patient, right? Great job not necessarily buying that pre-market move higher here, waiting for the market to tell you what's going on here, playing the curl back to the VWAP. Well done here, Eli Lilly. Good stuff there. We had a big yank. We are done. No, GNLN getting absolutely destroyed here now. No stop. I'm getting hammered. Yikes. Let's see if I can sell this on a bounce back here or something. This is why I don't like taking these off the screen.
If we do see accelerated selling, it's probably going to bounce or briefly find a bottom at 550.
I'm not holding it to 550. That is not even close. Are we talking about GNLN?
GNLN, yes.
GNLN, yeah. There's no way. I would close this earlier. I'm actually hoping this kind of bounces back in here. I can get some of this back. Nasty, nasty trade here on that pull.
PSEG also had a nasty pull after it unhalted, but it is getting support at $2. So it still might have some more left in it, more gas in the tank. There was another one I was going to mention that I was just looking at.
Actually, this did get back to the low there at 774 on GNLN. I'd like to see if this can get a little bit high. If it runs into resistance here, that's probably all I'm going to get on the bounce back. Let's see. Let's see if it gets above this 770 here.
So far, T has been slowly working out. It did get it did bounce off that 65 EMA on the 5-minute, but it has not recaptured VWAP yet. So with how slow moving it is, there's still quite enough potential for it to get to VWAP and then turn around and go back down again.
On key, that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
PSIG pushing again. Here we go.
Let's see. Come on. Man. Sorry, I'm still working on my disaster of a trade here.
Do you have any thoughts on Lumen for a longer hold? This is that other one that was that launched a satellite, right?
Yeah, they also had news last week. Sorry, I'll pull it up. I gotta focus on what I'm doing here.
Okay, no problem. I'm sorry. Lumen, I don't know why I said what I said, but this is the fiber optic company. I was thinking of Lunar. That's what I was thinking of.
Looks like it's really stopping at that. Yeah, I'm just going to have to take the loss on this one, I'm afraid. This is probably going to roll back over to the lows.
BLND, Blend Labs, that is looking like it's trying to get back up to 375. If there's enough volume coming in when it gets up to 375, it's probably going to end up breaking out over that and go into the Friday highs. Have that at 414. Just need that volume to push it up. So watch your volume expansion in BLND. Man, PSIG, new intraday highs 274.
God, got to get out of GNL, and I'm sorry about that, folks. I am really sorry. That one did not work. Sorry for soaking up the stream too. Oh God, that was a bad trade. That was a really, really bad trade for a Monday. But we'll bounce back from that. We'll bounce back from that.
Nicholas,
Yikes almighty, man.
Nicholas, I'm looking. Right now the resistance that Sound is dealing with right now is from the highs on Friday during the regular session. That's where it currently is topped out at. But we broke through the 515 level, which was a key level that I had marked off. Now, if we can hold that and continue trading up, I think 575 is going to be on deck for today. I also mentioned 650. I don't know that we'll get up that high today, but just another upside target that I thought was worth mentioning. So we'll see. We need to have
on which one?
This is Sound, SOUND, Soundhound. Getting mentioned on Nvidia that it's flying.
So I'm pulling back here a little bit. Here is Nvidia. 109.
Nvidia chip smuggling to China becomes an industry. That's an interesting headline.
Yeah, Felipe, what you just did on GNLN is how 90% of crypto bros lost their money. So I don't know. Are you trying to call me a crappy crypto bro? Not sure what you're getting at here. We definitely knew going into that was a high risk trade. Outlined exactly what I did wrong, getting head faked on the VWAP break to the upside with the volume that we were looking for. Look, it just didn't work. As far as losing their money, we went into that really, really small so that we can handle a move like that. Is also why I didn't add when it fell out of there. So a lot of stuff in there that a little bit different. And also, as far as crypto goes, this is why I don't trade crypto, because you see a lot of that stuff in there.
With Nvidia, this is almost going to hit 110. There it goes. So Nvidia at 110. The 20-day SMA for Nvidia is at 112 and we'll call it 6-7 cents. I'd be interested to see if it can get up back over that and actually close above it today. That's going to be the first step for me to see if Nvidia is on a path to recovery. I personally don't think it's going to go to new all-time highs, but that, if I was in that camp, I'd want to see that recapture the 20-day SMA first.
VIX getting melted here. Bitcoin bouncing. Actually, Bitcoin trying to make a run back at that 60K level. I wonder if Mara is showing any strength. Not really. This is kind of diverging from that.
Yeah, CLSK and some of the other ones that aren't mentioning senior notes probably be better. Yeah, CLSK after that bounced. Look at that.
J. Michael, it's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. We have practice doing this. Yeah, Felipe, and so exactly regarding the whole breakout, like this is, I believe, I don't want to speak for him, but this is why Tuna is always saying buy weakness, not breakouts. You get head faked like that. That's just what happens. It happens. Sucks that it happens on a Monday, though. Sucks.
Go ahead.
I was going to say you can always make it so that you don't get yourself wiped out here. Again, protecting yourself with size early on. What was that, 13? I'm sorry, man.
I was going to mention that Soundhound. So far, we're getting exactly what we want with this one. It came back into that 515 that I had mentioned. It found support there. Now it's turning around. This is what we want to see to take us up to 575. So as long as we keep getting this, you get that support at 515, should be okay. Just need a little bit more time to get up there. Just watch for that volume to expand, and you'll know that the move is coming.
Nvidia, tons of calls now. Tons of calls coming across the Let me see if any of these are decent size. Nvidia, yeah, they're all over 100 lots here, ranging from the this week's expiry to January of next year expiry. Lots of Nvidia action here. More calls. The 110s. Again, these are this week's, though. I see some 110 puts for this week's. Looks like they're going back and forth. Wow. There's a flurry of Nvidia action there on the unusual option activity scanner. Looks like that coincided with the 110 break to the upside there in Nvidia.
Looks like I'm not saying that it's going to turn around and rip, but it looks like GNL is trying to turn around to retest 790. That's a level that I had where it broke down. So if it trades back up there, I think it may face rejection. I'm not confident that it's going to break above VWAP.
Apple, by the way, we haven't really looked at Apple yet here today. That ripping to the highs here on Apple.
Apple, Amazon, and Nvidia, the only Mag 7 green today. Though some of the other ones could join them because they're not too far away from going green. Google and Microsoft could be next to turn green.
PSIG actually turning around here. This might be going back towards those highs.
Let's see here. Yeah, got up to 282. My next upside target is going to be $3. And remember, I mentioned earlier that basically between 2 and 4, there's a lot of supply that this has to trade through. So you might see a lot of these this price action where it goes up and then comes right back in real quick, like we got with this last 5-minute candle. So just something to consider with PSIG. But looks like it wants to go to 4, but it's got to get through that supply.
Robert mentioning Groupon here. Maybe this is curling off the bottom. I don't know about Groupon, though, for a longer term play. Soundhound, you were about to go to 13?
I was just mentioning it because it's still behaving the way we want.
This actually looks like it's about to break its high here. Where's Bernardo? He's been on this one for a while, I should say.
Just the volume needs to expand a little bit more in this one because you see how we have all the supply that it's trying to push through, especially at 535. We're going to need a little bit more expansion with that volume in order to get through all these sell orders.
I do. By the way, regarding PSIG here, sorry, 13, but regarding PSIG here, I am seeing some of the X traders getting on board with this, so I would expect some long and short action, kind of all over. Seeing it being mentioned here on X. Okay.
The interesting thing about MGOL right now, this is just something I've noticed when I was cycling through the some trades, is that it got support from $6 level after it was trying to break above and stay above it all pre-market. So I'm thinking that this might be an interesting slow mover. If it continues to hold 6, it could take it up to 675.
Okay, on MGOL, right? I got the right ticker there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just thought it was interesting.
Jay's Life, happy Monday. Check out Hood. So here is Hood. Feel like it can break 1854. That's going to be the upside right here. It's going to be the high of the day if it does take that out here. Looking at the daily chart, we close that first gap. We have another gap that starts at what looks like 19 and change.
1929. Yep.
And then fills up there at 20 and change.
1983.
Okay, and then you have the 20-day right above that, and the 50-day right above that. So Hood here. I don't know the product. There's been so much like back and forth with Hood on it, not being a great broker and this, that, and the other thing. But I do think that there are some things that might be decent here for Hood coming. We'll see if it breaks this 1856 here. I see size at 1855.
I think with Hood that
SMCI ripping.
There might be some upside trouble between 20 and 22. It might find a top between there, and those moving averages might have something to do with it. Just something. It may even not go any higher as 20, but between 20 and 22, I think there's going to be some resistance for Hood.
So SMCI now, I have a low print from last week at 478.50. Today, 549.50. So Jay, you were talking earlier about this being a 50-point move. Looks like we've extended that now to a 75-point move off the bottom here on SMCI. Woo.
Yeah, even SMCI has a gap to fill to the upside. Not very well, I guess, depending on who you talk to, it's not very big. Starts at what is this? 636.98. We can call it 637 if you want, and that stops filling at 658.58. All right, so PSIG trying to figure out if it's going to keep going higher or not. Volume looks not as great as it used to.
PSIG.
Key.
Oh, here we go. GNLN, is it coming back here? AH saying good call on selling it. Look, especially with the stuff that's up like hundreds of %, you have to know that that's coming there. Honestly, if I was doing this over again, I probably would set a hard stop beneath one of those levels that likely would have taken me out here. Here we go, coming back on GNLN just to rub salt in the wounds. 13.
I mentioned that it's got to get past 790, and I think it's going to come up and test it and likely get rejected. If I'm wrong about that, then I'm wrong. I'm not even in this, but 790 looks like it's the level that it has to contend with to get back, up into the channel it was trading when we.
Well, there's your spot.
Yeah, so I don't think that it gets higher.
There's your spot. We'll watch that 790 level, see if you get it. So far backing off that spot there. I got no reason to really. So this is what we talk about when we talk about clawing back. Like, would love to be able to claw some of that back here today, but would like to do it on a name other than GNLN here. I would rather do this on a more stable name. We'll see if it gets above that 790 area that you're outlining here, 13.
Would need a little bit more volume to do that.
Morning, Bob. Good to see you. Hopefully you're having a good morning. Driving my son to Penn State. Oh, it's back to school time. Hey, When is the Bob? Let me know. When is the whiteout game for Penn State? Those night games where the whole stadium is white. Those are awesome. When is that this year? I can't remember. MGOL getting mentioned here. Ooh, look at the pull here.
Oh,
So we got
wow.
another big pull here. We saw that in GNLN. Now we're seeing it in MGOL. And look at this happened again right away from the VWAP. It really wasn't able to build that strength up, and it just gave it up.
That took out the entire pre-market. That's crazy.
Just gave it up.
What is this down to? 513. 513 was the low. Yeah, sell off. Just couldn't hold that VWAP. At least Soundhound's still holding up there.
Well, look at this one. Look at Fastly, ticker FSLY. This thing, look at this daily chart. It's just gap down, never recover, gap down, never recover. Looks like we've gapped down again. Stop me if you've heard this before, but I don't know. This Fastly, this not looking great here. I know we talk about adding on weakness. If anyone has a bull cases on Fastly, I'd like to hear it. NASDAQ, big bounce, by the way. That is now gone green. NASDAQ, unreal. SPY here going green as well. How's the IWM doing? Still holding out, although it's still moving to the highs here. We'll see.
Fastly with their guidance cut, reducing workforce. Yeah, it's earnings that's continuing to pummel this down into the all-time lows that we got on Thursday. Not sure when this turns around, but it could be good one day. I don't know when that day is. I haven't looked at their financials either. Balance sheet doesn't look too bad. They're just not making money. Not enough of it anyway.
LUMN continuing to go lower here.
Looks like key is at that level.
Were we able to get above the VWAP yet?
It's
nope.
Right
we're back
there.
at there. Yeah,
it's right there. So this is where it could turn around and come back down, just because it's that slow mover. But if there's enough buyers, it's going to push it over, and we'll get some algos to kick in and try to lift it. But that 65 EMA, that was the spot to get into this if you wanted this movement here to VWAP.
I will say the mention here on the share structure and float and how that's going to affect trading, that really seems to be the mention of the day for this stock. That wild move in the pre-market, and since then just unable to get above its VWAP, not really doing a whole lot of anything. That was a good call, 13. That was a good one.
Thanks. And PSIG is still trying to expand its volume and get and push up to 3. So this one's still happening right now. But remember, we just saw what happened with NGOL. This one also has a low float too. It's got 510,000 shares. So be careful, beware of a sell-off. There was another one I wanted to mention as well. Oh, Soundhound still holding up there. So still looking for a 575 in Soundhound. Not sure if we'll get it or not, but so far it looks pretty good. Just needs to not roll over.
Yeah, Soundhound rolling here. So that we're going to highlight this comment. Loving this Monday so far. We've talked about this a lot, but we're very, very fortunate that we have a job where we absolutely love Mondays. And that's where we're at here again with you on that one. We're back at it. Smita saying Monday's always very hard for me. I don't necessarily know what that is. Maybe just kind of catch up from the weekend. I would say if you notice any patterns, then you can use that to kind of protect yourself. Sometimes it's just luck of the draw, right? Sometimes it's just kind of luck of the draw.
I feel that Mondays sometimes, like you have a weekend, your head's not in the markets or the game, so you're focused on other stuff, and then you have to change all that when you come back Monday. So you're just like, okay, gotta forget all the stuff that I was occupying my mind with over the weekend and focus back on this. It takes a little bit of a transition sometimes. I've been there too. Yeah,
and the big thing is that, like, especially for me anyway, if I go from the weekend where I've done a lot of relaxing and a lot of enjoyment, and then I'm immediately thrown back into the work week where there's a lot going on, it's really the pace that changes. That's the biggest thing to kind of overcome. Like, you go from just things don't really matter. Things are kind of moving at a manageable pace to all of a sudden everything's hectic. And that can actually force you into making poor decisions. And that's one of the things that we try to avoid. Jay saying last week was very tiring. I'm glad that you said that because it did kind of feel that way. I actually had a really good week at the end of it, but I felt at the end of it, I was like, man, it's like that was a week. That was a week.
There's a lot that was going on. I mean,
yeah,
the,
it sure was.
The yen carry trade really shook things up for us. We had to learn a lot about stuff. I mean, there are people that weren't even talking about it. Were caught completely off guard with it. So it was just a big old shock to the market.
Emran, do we get back to the VWAP here? What say you folks? Shot being mentioned by Tuna, curling off the bottom.
Shot and Emran, I have not looked at it all today. I'm sorry.
Penny stocks now, or at least Shot is.
Emran never really got back above its VWAP. Nope. That's what needs to happen first for me with this one.
Nope. I was going to say, speaking of the coming back to certain levels that you mentioned, GNLN, when we were watching that bounce back up, never took out that 790 that you talked about either, 13.
At least not yet, but so far, it has not been able to recapture that. That was it was a pretty clear line in the sand from what I was seeing with the chart. MREN though, 295 has been the level all morning. So if it cannot get above that, then it's still got to get back to a VWAP.
Yeah, I was going to say 276 is in the way of that, but you're absolutely right. That 295 spot clear as day from this morning.
Yeah.
So you guys that were using stops, you guys trading Lumen, that you're using stops on that, hopefully that is keeping you in profit and stopping you from really kind of getting beat up a little bit more.
Blend has a bit of a do or die moment here coming up. It's almost at that intraday high of 374. The volume needs to expand it to go higher. I think if it's not going to take out that level if it's going to trade on this volume. Now we do have an EMA, the 15 EMA crossing VWAP pretty soon, so that might help entice buyers. But I said what I said. We need to see volume expansion in order to push through 374. Friday, it got as high as 414, so that's kind of where I would be targeting for the upside. Downhound, 533, new intraday high. Still slowly getting up there. Still want to see that 575 print. No position.
It looks like this is going to try and break those highs out.
Let's see.
Here is PSIG. We'll see if that tries to go higher here. Nabil said, anyone seen Costco? What a great rebound. Yeah, that happened because I went there this weekend. So, of course, I saw it. But yes, Costco, again, Smoke Tuna is out here really kind of hammering home a point about buying weakness and not strength. And let me tell you something. No stock has proven that over the long term in my career more than Costco. Every time this stock gets hit and beaten down, it ends up going higher. This is one of those stocks. If you like this and you believe in this long term, anytime it shows weakness, you're likely to be able to add there.
Yeah, the last super opportunity we had was back in 22.
Yep.
In May and April.
AMAT, this is another one to watch here. Robert, I know you've been watching this one. This is a good one. One of the things that we really want to pay attention to here in AMAT is going to be, where do we close up here, right? Because we are now above the 200-day on this. Let me give you a bigger chart so we can look at this together. Here you go, right? On Friday, we got a close. I'm pretty sure that was above, right? Let's see, close 190.118, and the AMAT 200-day is 190.58. So if we continue and we stay above this level here today, this is now going to be two closes above the above the 200-day on AMAT. I wouldn't be shocked if this started to test some of these other levels, maybe a swing long candidate in here. Robert, you play this one often, don't you? What's your target on this one? I can't remember. It's this ASML is your big one. but I can't remember. I think that you play this one. Curious to know what you think here on that, on AMAT. PSIG getting mentioned.
Yeah, and GNLN still trying to hammer away at 790.
It's trying.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch that and see if it goes through that here. There's that 790 through.
Oh, did it really go through?
Well, it took it. Oh no, it didn't. I beg your pardon. No, yeah, it did. It printed 790s, but did not print above 790s. So it actually took that seller out at the spot, but did not print above.
Okay. There we go. Got through it now.
Yeah, 100. Yep. Couple hundred shares traded at 92. 300 shares total traded at 92. They were a little bit more above that. Okay. So they did get through it there. So we'll see if we come back here to VWAP. That would be perfect, wouldn't it? Jeff mentioning Tesla here. Tesla, this is actually building above the VWAP. This is a really good call here, Jeff. I appreciate this. This is going to give us something tradable here today. Tesla trying to base above the VWAP. You can see it clear as day on the chart here. Look to see if this gets any type of buying flow. This likely goes higher.
Yeah, it needs today. It's going to have to close above 200 if we're going to get serious about this breaking over the 200-day SMA. So the $200 level, I want to see it close over that in Tesla.
Robert, appreciate this. Answering the question here, 195 and the 200 strikes is what you're looking at there on AMAT. INOD back above 20s.
Oh yeah, I saw that earlier today too.
Kind of thin, but that has really been good. That has really been good. GNLN flirting with going above those 8s there. So we're coming back to VWAP here. GNLN.
Yeah, MACD showing signs of some curling. Hasn't crossed yet, but it's.
This histogram looks like it wants to go green here.
Mm-hmm.
Or the MACD histogram, that is. Now above 1850 here on GNLN. Man, I can't, with some of these day trades, especially a stock that's up, 230%, which is rare. There's just no way. There's no way you can hold through those downturns.
815 is what you meant, right?
What did I say?
1850.
Oh, yeah, 815, excuse me.
No, we're probably going to see an 850 VWAP test here in just a second.
See Smoke Tuna here right on that GNLN. Watch where it's coming from. It can flush back down 200%. It can give up all of these gains that it has, is what he's saying here. This could easily print in the 3s, and that's why, Tuna, when it really started to break down and it didn't really kind of bounce back into that level in quick order, just had to take it off. Just had to take it off. We'll see if this gets above VWAP here. Remember, the initial trade that we tried doing was a break above VWAP. It teased it and head faked it. Let's see if we get it now.
Yeah, it might, but I don't like the way the volume looks.
And honestly, I know it. I had a good week last week, especially with Beyond Meat on Friday. By the way, I know this is kind of in the past. We really won't spend a whole lot of time on it. But I'm going to shout out my teammates who traded Bind last week when we got this huge pop, because I heard it over Squawk and I immediately sat back down at my computer and started scalping this one. So I actually finished off the week pretty well. But I know it's here on a Monday, really kind of sucks to start with an L. That's okay, man. We're not going to make this any worse. And the last thing I'm going to do is try to revenge trade a name that's already spanked me once today.
BLND got a pop, but it hasn't moved up enough. It didn't get to 414. It's only got as high as 382. Excuse me. Doesn't look like it's done, but doesn't seem like there's really a whole lot of volume right now. So maybe 390 is going to be the as high as it goes. We'll have to see.
Tom, this is a good question here. By the way, we've got about 6 minutes before we turn this over to an all access for Zunaid. That's going to be it for 13 and I at that point. But until then, we're going to go right up to that bell here. Tom, with a really good question. With the E and 13, I'd love to get your opinion on this if you don't mind. With the EMA and the SMA, Do you guys prefer one over the other? My answer would be yes, but it would be yes with a caveat. It is, what are you actually looking for when you, or what time frame are you looking on? I beg your pardon. When you see me flip to these daily charts or weekly or monthly charts that I often do, you'll hear me say, let's take a look at the bigger chart here, which is going to be something like this. These are all SMAs. And I use these a lot more on larger time frames. Now, when you zoom in, like intraday time frames, I think that it's a little bit more, can be more prudent to use some of those EMAs. So 13, I know, do you still use the 65 EMA that Andy from Mighty Soldiers uses?
Every day.
Every single day. There you go. And do you use them on intraday charts?
Always.
Bingo.
I use EMAs on smaller timeframes, intraday timeframes, and I use SMAs on the longer timeframes, monthly, daily, weekly, stuff like that. Lagging averages just tend to serve me better for the information I'm trying to gather by using them on longer timeframes, and EMAs, same thing on the shorter timeframes. So really, I use EMAs for trading.
Yeah. So more active. And think about that. What the EMA does is it's going to weight some of those more recent data points more than ones that are further away, whereas simple moving averages are going to weight them all the same. So if you think about that, it makes sense then when you're moving into shorter time frames, more immediate time frames, like for day trading, like 13 is talking about, you'd see a little bit more from those EMAs. Really quickly here, just to kind of cover up, look at what happened on GNLN.
Yeah,
I hope there was not a single person in this room that got head faked by that, because we just spent a lot of time talking about how the move above the VWAP was the one that actually caused the trade to go red here and what faked me out. Now we came back to the VWAP, another rejection, another big pull. Bob, actually getting back to me here on the question, Penn State whiteout game, November 9th. Hopefully my son can score some tickets. I'm going to be rooting for you to get those tickets there. I know where I'll be November 9th. That's going to be a night game. Ooh, I know where I'll be, baby.
Wow.
Watching that from my couch.
With a breakout over the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart. It was this is getting mentioned all morning by Jay Rice.
And this was another move off 20 here. You guys have been on this. You guys have been like, I don't think I've traded ASTS in a long time. You guys have been all over this one. Over this one. It's
got a great upcoming catalyst. That cluster satellite launch they're going to be doing next month. If everything goes well, could probably at least some selling at first, but this if they're continuing to do this, it'll be really good for the company. I think the news is going to be something you sell though. What are you reading?
Work stuff about this. It's only okay. So I just bought us 5 more minutes. So don't everyone thank me at once. JK, really quick, just the follow-up question here. Great. So with the 200-day, it will always be the SMA. So what you're talking about here is semantics, but this is really, really important. When you hear me talking, if I say moving average, or I say the 200-day or the 50-day, if I do not specify, I am always talking about the simple moving average. Always, always, always. If I'm talking about an exponential moving average, you'll hear me say that or say EMA and clarify that. Now, I think that this is common parlance amongst our profession, but at the risk of speaking for somebody else, I don't know how everyone does it. So I'll say if I do not specify, it is SMA. Otherwise, in all other cases, I will specify if it's an EMA.
Yep. Same thing. So PSIG also coming in now. That actually tested its VWAP.
Okay. That's good, right? We want it. Well, I don't quite have it. I would want that, though. That to me seems good. That to me seems good. Oh, Chipotle, are we going higher here? I might have sold those calls a little too early.
Bitcoin recaptured 60,000.
Yes, it did.
And CLSK. I mean, you guys were asking, was the time to pick it up? Was it the time? That was probably the time because we were getting that double bottom in Bitcoin. That intra. I guess we'll call it intraday because they don't have really pre-markets, or after hours. They just constantly trade.
Ken says, good Monday. Thanks, y'all. Let's go, Ken. Let's go. One up it. Hood is breaking out. Jay, did you call work? It went above that level that you mentioned earlier. Let's see if this continues to break out. I want to see more of just, a one-day move here on Hood. I'd really like this to kind of close the gap to 20.5. That feel pretty awesome here on Hood. Let's go back to here real quick.
Hood has spent too much time. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. This is not updating my chart. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, MACD on the daily is curling on Hood, so that could imply that it said it's going to head to the 20 and maybe 50-day SMA.
Here you go, real quick. Just kind of taking a look at the market. You can get a graphical representation of what's going on here. Nvidia really kind of carrying the water for everybody else. Stop me if you've heard that before, right? Oh. Nvidia up almost 5% here today. Just a huge move. Leaders to the downside here, still Qualcomm, although it's kind of muted across the board. Looks like we've got what do we got in here? Warner Brothers Discovery. That's no good. It's worth noting Starbucks still up after that passive stake. Lilly kind of gave its gains back here. Really, we saw a huge green Lilly tile. This is more of a gray tile now as it's about flat. So here's what your market is doing. Still overall positive. Sorry, 13 didn't mean to go over there.
Alex Anderson had a nice comment. I appreciate that. And I also saw that somebody was asking, I'm sorry, I couldn't remember who it was, but I was getting asked about Hollow because it's super cheap. It's like 30 cents or it's 31 cents. It's August, so that whole idea of that it's going to pop at some point or get pushed around and manipulated. We're in that time frame now. They're supposed to have some kind of earnings later on this month, and that has typically been the August catalyst. So if you look at when the last time it moved up, that was August 21st and 2023. It had another move up in February, but I'm talking about specifically August. And it ran for a few days before coming back in halfway through September. So if this pattern repeats, then there's a chance it's going to get pumped up. When they're supposed to have those earnings. So that's, I think, what I was getting asked about. So if you're willing to take that lottery ticket, because that's exactly what this is, it's going to be a lottery ticket play. It's not investing or trading. It's just taking a chance on a potential pump. This is a pretty cheap price to get in. I mean, if you buy a couple hundred shares, you're just getting an expensive lottery ticket. Just expect all that to be lost if you're going to try this. That would be the play. But if this does rip like it has a pattern of showing around August, it'd be a really good lottery ticket. That's the whole thesis.
Jay's asking, what do we have on the float for WHLR? Jay, to answer your question here, Jay Wild, my float reading 284,000 on that float reading. That is what I have here. There you go.
With a 33.69% short interest of the float. They must have done a reverse split recently.
Yeah. Nick saying Hollow has taught me the lesson of not trading Hollow. So all jokes aside here, knowing your own, what works for you and what doesn't work for you, that's going to be really, really important. And if there's a name or a setup that you just constantly keep fumbling over, not doing it is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not
like I said,
a bad
lottery
idea.
ticket. If you're going to try to take that trade, expect to lose everything you put into it. It's just a lottery ticket trade. It just has this weird pattern of repeating. So if you think it's worth taking that trade, worth letting go of a little bit of capital, then that's your prerogative. With Wheeler, though, those reverse splits, they did two this year so far. One in May and the other in July. One for 24 reverse split in May 17th, and then another 1 for 5 on the 28th of June. Did I say July? I meant June. I'm sorry.
No, I think you. Oh yeah, no, I think you did. Real quickly here, that front side of that hollow move was epic, though. Indeed, that stuff that really goes crazy is like that.
And if it was like that the only time that ever did that, I'd be like, okay, well, this is never happening again. But it's done this 4 times, and it's always around like August and February. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, all good. That is going to be it here for us here today. We are going to send you over to an all access here with Zunaid. So 10 minutes short here. We'll make it up tomorrow. 13. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, buddy.
And folks, we will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the all access.
Benzinga Nation. Today, we're going to have another conversation with Dr. Michael Lebby, who is a chairman and CEO of Lightwave Logic. Ticker on the NASDAQ is LWLG. All access starts right now. Dr. Lebby, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Great to see you again, Zunaid.
I love the background. You've got something of a different look than usually when we talk, but where are you at right now?
I am in my home office. I got visitors, international visitors, so I've been pushed out to the kitchen. So that's why you'll see it's an interesting background here.
No matter how successful you are, they still find a way to kick you out of your workspace. You got to love it. Well, look, you and I have had so many conversations, but for the viewers that are watching you for the first time, give us a quick, brief overview of what Lightwave Logic is, but especially in the commercialization process and what next year can kind of look like. I'd love to get insights there as well.
Great. Yeah. So this last 3 months has been incredibly busy for us. So earlier this year, we actually went to a major conference and we showed some world-class results. We had a lot of visitors to our demonstrations at the conference and various other places. But that's been followed up in the last 3 months with visits to our facility in Denver, Colorado. And so we've been seeing tier 1 companies come visit us, come check us out, go inspect what we really have there. And what we have is a world-class materials facility that can ramp our polymer materials. They're also seeing some of our state-of-the-art testing of super high speed. And so we've been showing them performance metrics, performance data, and it's been a really exciting last 3 months since I've last talked to you. So from a commercialization standpoint, this has been, I think, 2024 growing interest in our technology platform.
What makes this company interesting for me is the fact that you're able to have your polymers not just be advanced, but you're able to do it at a faster speeds at lower costs. But help me understand how you're able to do that.
Well, we do that because we design our own polymers, and we've got really good control both from an IP patent standpoint as well as a performance standpoint. And these polymers perform better than the semiconductors. The semiconductor technology is already out there. So this is really exciting. And what we've done this year is we've actually showed customers the actual performance. So we're seeing super fast data rates. I'm not going to go into those details. We're showing that these data rates operate at super low voltage levels. Yeah. And if you think about these two things, just those for the minute, super high speed is what's really being driven by things like AI, and low voltage really lowers the power consumption. So you talk to any data center operator, they're looking for creative ways to get that power consumption down. And this is a technology that can do it. So for us, showing these types of performance metrics in our facility in Denver, Colorado has been absolutely exciting.
You know, typically whenever you see faster speeds, you assume higher costs, but that's not the case here. So that's what's most interesting to me. But you mentioned the conference, which is a 2024 European conference on optical communication. How was that? And what is presenting at these sorts of events benefit? Like, how does it benefit the company?
So all the customers will be there. So just similar to the optical fiber conference in March this year, OFC, where we first came out with this level of world-class performance, we're now being invited to talk at the ECOC, that's the European Conference of Optical Communications. And this year it's being held in Frankfurt in late September. And not only have we been asked to give a talk on the performance of our work, we're actually being selected as one of the finalists for the hybrid optical integration category. And that's really exciting for us. So, I mean, this is a conference that has the world's best companies from all over the world, and certainly being asked to give a talk and being a finalist too is actually really exciting for us.
Yeah, just being nominated is such a great accomplishment. You know, good luck on that aspect of it. Let's talk about, you mentioned finalists, which means there are other folks that are involved in this space as well. What kind of competition do you face? But more importantly, what's your biggest advantage? I understand you've got the polymers at faster speeds at a lower cost. What other advantages do you have?
So one of the big advantages we have is that our technology fits really neatly into the big silicon foundries. And over the last 3 months, we actually did announce that we're in a strategic relationship with a big foundry based in Singapore called AMF. And these are the folks that are doing our technology on 200 millimeter, huge 8-inch type wafers. And so this is one of the advantages over our competition. Our competition is typically technologies that are difficult to get into a silicon fab. Whereas our technology, because it becomes in a liquid form, we can spin it onto the wafers. It actually works really great onto silicon wafers. And so that is one of the advantages in addition to the high performance. Because if you think about what we have is a disruptive technology compared to the incumbent semiconductors. While you want a disruptive technology, you don't want it to be that disruptive that you have to change all of the infrastructure in order to make it work. And so for us, having a technology that is really good in performance is disruptive enough, but it doesn't disrupt things like the foundries. It doesn't disrupt their processes. It doesn't disrupt their equipment. That's already there. And so we are making really good use of the infrastructure with our new technology. And that's why you have to be very careful when you use the word disruptive. Yes, we've disrupted performance, but we don't disrupt the infrastructure. And that's exactly what the industry is looking for.
So many times we've heard the phrase of they were ahead of their time, right? Where a technology or a company just came out a little bit too early to where the retail folks, the audience, the world just wasn't ready for it. And that's what that reminds me of what you said, where you don't want to be too disruptive to where you can't utilize it because the infrastructure is not able to handle the advanced technology that you're dealing with. But speaking of technology, how does the AI boom impact your industry? And is there any overlap there?
So the AI boom, I mean, we've heard of companies called Nvidia that have done really well with their GPU chips. But what those GPU chips are electronic processors. So the processing, the computations are done electronically. What we have here is technology that actually modulates the optical signals that go down the fiber optics. So if you think about what may happen is in the GPU chips, AI is generating a lot more computational processes. Some of those computational processes will go to memories on chip, and some of them will go off chip down the fiber optic networks. That means there's more data that's to be sent faster.
Yeah.
So we are indirectly benefiting from AI. So when AI is becoming more popular and people want to do more things with it, more computations occur in the GPU chips, that sends more information down the fibers to other, I guess, GPU chips or through the data centers. And we have a technology that really takes advantage of sending that data at a higher speed. So we indirectly benefit from GAI, which is really exciting today.
All right, you mentioned chips, and it always reminds me of when I used to have to do schoolwork, and the chips would be like, the SanDisk chips would be like, 256 megabytes would be like this big. Now you can get like 2 terabytes in this small of one. So it's just amazing to see. Like, my nephew doesn't even know what floppy disks are. So yeah, things have come a long, long way. Dr. Lebby, it's always great to talk to you, but I wanted to give you the floor before I say bye. Is there anything else that we missed to talk about? The floor is yours to talk to our viewers.
Oh no, we've been increasing our position on the patent front. And so I think we had a patent issued in the last quarter. That has been really exciting. And so we continue to file patents. And that really helps part of the business strategy of not only selling modulators, but usually creating the material, the electro-optic polymers that we can license. So we have a dual-pronged business model where we license our material as well as put our material into devices to show people the incredible performance. But yeah, this has been a great summer, and I expect it to continue into fall and the end of this year.
Awesome. Appreciate your time as always, Dr. Lebby. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Sinead.
Absolutely. And we thank you, chat, for watching as well. That was Dr. Michael Lebby, who is the chairman and CEO of Lightwave Logic. Ticker on the NASDAQ is LWLG. Thank you for watching All Access.